sometimes in life we do too much, and when we do too much, we don't get as much accomplished as we would like. And that was the lesson for 2024, for me anyway, and that was, as you know, we built the black Dove, black Integra, a couple years ago to race in Gridlife's Time Attack. This year, we raced a silver car that I built in probably 3 to 5 months. Over that period of time, we got hammered with mistakes, issues, problems, you name it. And because of that, this car got a little neglected, that got a little neglected, and unfortunately we didn't get to accomplish what I set out to last year. That's okay, because this year we're gonna come out swinging. With that being said, welcome to 2025, and we're already off to the races. You like what I did there? On putting the black car together for this season. There is not a ton, as you know. This car is pretty wild for what it is. It is a 1996 Acura Integra with a Jace composite front end on it, wide body, better known or recognized on drag race cars. And you can see that at the end of last year, we put the frame on, the bumper, fenders, fender cutouts, the whole bit. And it made a big difference in what we could do as far as wheel sizes. Now, last season, we were running a 17 by 10. Koenig was able to collaborate with I believe it was Miata drivers, and put out a 17 by 10 4x100. So it's a very weird offset because it's actually made for not Hondas, and I think it's plus 45 or plus 48 or something like that. It's not really that weird, but it is weird on a car that has a big drag front end. So what was our fix? A 20 mil spacer. Now that's never ideal, but this season we're going to be running an 18 by 10 and a half. That's right. You heard correctly. On an Integra is going to be an 18 by 10 and a half. So that means we got to do a little bit of work to make that happen. One thing that we're going to be doing is swapping over to 5-lug to make our wheel options a little bit easier when it comes to finding the correct fitment, which we've already done, and we've already worked with Koenig to get the wheels for the season. And I'm very excited about that. So we're gonna be running a 18 by 10 and a half on the front, and then we're gonna be running a 17 by 8 and a half in the rear. We were currently running a 17 by 8 in the rear, so slightly wider, so we'll get a little bit more stretch on that tire. 17 by 9, I'm gonna test fit, but again, fitment is a little questionable. So we don't wanna be rubbing against our trailing arm, which can be an issue. Although we're not going crazy, we are still making some other changes. Now, as you know, if you followed it all, last year I blew up the engine that was in this car at Lime Rock. So we put in a new K24. We did sort of rush it, so it did not get tuned before pit race, which was the last race of the season last year. So don't actually know the full capabilities of that motor and see what it is putting out. We put a catch can on this one. As you can see, I actually took that off to empty it, which there's nothing in there anymore because there was just some condensation. It's not uncommon, especially with running ethanol, to get condensation instead of oil in your catch can. So yes, there has been some slight changes to the rules, but nothing that's really going to change what we're doing. You can see here we got some OEM Honda parts, and that is going to be just doing some changes. We're going to be taking the windshield out and putting some new seals in because the plan is to take all the stickers off of this thing and have it painted. We're also going to be doing the interior. Was never painted underneath the cage. Just some cleanliness stuff and cosmetics. Again, nothing crazy. Oh, we're also going to be putting a new front venting system on. This was thrown together pretty much last minute and extremely quick for Lime Rock. and again, didn't have time to change it. You could see there's a line on the top here. Our goal is going to be to actually get this coming up and covering the entire radiator so we don't run into heating issues like we did at Lime Rock. That was mostly because I forgot to shut the fan off, turn the fan on. But then there's some other things. I'm not sure 100% what we're going to be, really getting crazy with, because I don't want to. The biggest issue last season was doing too much and not accomplishing enough. And that's going to be, something that I just keep on saying in my head. So many people think you got to do, or you got to change, you got to do this. Simplify and focus on what's important. And what's important realistically in our class is driving. You want to get your car to the point where you're tenths off, and the only tenths are possibly those changes that you're going to have to make. And we haven't gotten to that point yet. The car is wildly overbuilt compared to what I did last year performance-wise. So, number one, we're going to really push this off-season to train on the sim. Hopefully get out to some random track days throughout the country if that's possible. There's some other stuff that's going to prevent that, but we're going to do the best we can. Oh, and the other thing that we're going to be doing is fuel. We're going to be changing out the fuel line, or the fuel filter, to an inline fuel filter. And then we're also putting a OEM gas tank in this because we had a little bit of fueling issues last season. And from what I'm told is some of the newer aftermarket tanks for this, OEM style, have some slightly better baffling. We're gonna give that a shot. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Best case scenario, it does. So we're gonna try that. So that's pretty much it on the black car. We've got a ton happening with the S2000. Way more than actually I want to be happening, unfortunately. It just was not in the condition that I thought originally. My goal ultimately was to take that thing out on track as a stock-ish car and then can kind of compare as we go. It turns out that the car is in pretty poor shape under the, as far as like the subframes, and bolts and all sorts of stuff are just way rustier than I thought it was and in way worse condition. Very little maintenance was done to this vehicle, and we're gonna have to do more. So the only thing that I might do is hopefully try to keep it as simple as possible. We're not going crazy. There's still a lot of stuff that I can change, but unfortunately it's not gonna be a true stock comparison to the changes that we make. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, with these older cars, it is harder to do that. It's not like a new car where you can just, go get a new Type R and take that out on track and then change the tires and see, oh, look, just shaved off a second or a second and a half or, 5/10. You're gonna have to sort of massage these things to get them to feel safe on the track too, because nobody talks about the fact that confidence is key when it comes to driving on track. And if you're a little nervous about the car having some issues, that's a problem. So some other things that we're going to be doing, you can see those are the unbelievable Fortunato 520s. I'll tell you what, I just want to say this. Those coilovers blew my mind how good they are. Again, nothing against what I had on the vehicle, but I was using coilovers that were not meant to be used in the fashion they were. So the fact that they did what they did was unbelievable. And actually, looking back on data, we were faster last year in the 2023 in the black car at Lime Rock than I was 2024 in the silver car at Lime Rock by a pretty large margin. We'll do that for another video, but it was quite eye-opening to see the difference. And one of those things I truly do believe, because the silver car, the data shows that I've improved as a driver. Braking zones are better, later, shifting's better, smoother, taking turns, lines and stuff, are just everything about my driving was better, except the black car seemed to be faster in a straight line, as well as everywhere else on track. Don't know exactly what the reason is, but we'll find that one out. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Again, we're going to be launching the S2000 series soon, so stick around. And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all the support, and welcome to 2025.